there's just a lot of scam artists out here nowadays. It's sad, but it's what we're running into, and that's why I like having the companies, you know, Breeze, like having those type of companies that like really care about the customer are the ones you want. You know,
Absolutely.
like I always tell people, like we even tell people all the time, like, dude, get 2 more quotes, like call other people, like if you want to, like by all means, like we don't care, like we're here to help you. If you feel like we're not the team for you, then we're not the team for you. But like we always like. If they're like, we're like, get multiple quotes. Like, we're not holding you to anything, you know, but we want you to get service. This is what you need. But if we're not for you, like, that's okay. All right, welcome back to Dyno Service Bros with the Dyno Service Pros. David, Brad, and then we have a special guest, Jackson, over from Breeze. Let's kick it off. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Jackson.
Yeah, well, first, thanks for having me. I've been down here in southern Utah for about 5 years or so. I grew up in northern Utah. I'm the owner of Breeze Air Duct Cleaning, as well as a few other things. But previously to starting my business, I was actually going to be going to medical school. And I was going to school, taking 18 credits, working 50-ish hours a week. And so I was leaving the house at 5 a.m., not getting home till 10 every night. So my poor wife never saw me. And so originally the idea came from, let's just find something that I can supplement some time and income. And just started as a side gig, and it took off like I could never imagine. It's been the biggest blessing in my life, other than my wife, obviously.
Yeah, nice.
Gotta save that. Save that there. But no, it's awesome, man. I love it. I love Southern Utah. I never want to leave, obviously. You know, I hope that people stop coming.
Yeah. It's such a catch-22 because the more people come, the more business there is.
Exactly. So and I've noticed that like probably 70% of our customers the last 2 months have been from California. So it's ironic because as people in Southern Utah, we're not the biggest fans when they come, but from a business standpoint, it
as
is.
he sits with 2 Californians.
Yeah. Chill out, bro. Chill.
Was it before the last 5 years?
Oh, yeah. We've been here like
Your
13,
excuse.
14.
Your excuse.
That's what we feel like too. And I think most people agree.
Yeah, we always tell them we're transplants. We came 13 years ago.
There you
We're
go.
good.
What's the line, in your opinion?
The last 4
like
or 5
COVID.
years.
Yeah,
COVID.
right at COVID.
2020.
For sure.
COVID, pre-COVID, yeah.
Yeah, because everyone came in with their BS, you know.
Haven't left yet.
But hey, the funny thing is though, do you see a lot of your customers are transplants? There are a lot of Californians, like a vast majority of them. Because I feel like for us, we see a lot of that. Like the people that want to do more of the upgrades, you know, like you talk to people here about like a reverse osmosis, you know, to get clean drinking water because they have a stack of, you know, water bottles. Those Californians are the ones that are willing to get the luxury items. And it's like, I feel like with even duct cleaning, like we'll offer it like, hey, you know, we got a company we work hand in hand with. You should, like, we could get them out here and walk you through it by getting your duct cleaning. If they're from California, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds good. If they're not, they're like, no. Like, no, I don't want to.
Absolutely.
Like, okay.
Absolutely. We've definitely found that. I don't know if they're just more cautious of it because as we know, everything causes cancer according to the state of California.
Yes.
So I don't know if they're just more conscious about it or what, but I have noticed that even from a tipping standpoint, like I always tell my guys and everything, like when we go into a job, you're not there for the tip. You're not there for money, period. I believe, and what I kind of founded this business on is first, we're in the business of helping people. That's number one. The money comes second. Money's great. It's awesome. If you get a tip, good for you. That's fantastic. But taking care of these people comes first. But on that point is people from California probably tip 99% of the time more than people here.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But people here will tip $5 for their swig drink.
Yeah.
But they won't tip a service worker for working 10 hours or whatever it is.
In the heat.
In the heat.
Degrees.
Exactly. But that's funny. The one thing, there are other positive things about people from California. But even just that, like you were saying, more conscious, but I feel like more appreciative with stuff like that, with service things like plumbing or duct cleaning, things like that. And I don't know if that just comes from a understanding of value or because everything is so expensive in California that this seems cheap. And so they're extra generous.
That's a good point.
They're like, man, I thought this is going to be $500 more. Here's $100. You know?
Yeah, exactly. But it's a funny trend we've noticed.
I don't remember ever service workers being tipped. Not that they shouldn't, but I think back living in California, I feel like the service workers were miserable. So you just wanted them out of your house as soon as...
I feel like it was kind of like, you know, we go golfing and you tip the guy that cleaned your clubs. You know, it's just kind of like they did you a service. So even if it's $5, it's like a little thank you. Because, yeah, you know, they get paid hourly or whatever. So you're like, hey, here's a little something. Go get a burger. But no, 100% for us, too, it seems like a lot of people out of state are the more generous ones. Which, for whatever reason, I mean, it's cool, you know, because like our guys too, like our app shows like show tip and our guys just like pass it because like they know, you know what I mean? Like we're not there, like you said, we're there for the customer. If they want to tip, by all means, that's awesome. You know, if not, cool. You know, you paid us to do the job you hired us to do. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, obviously, tip isn't expected, nor do I think it ever should be.
Right.
And I try to tell the guys that too, like I said, you're not going in there to get a tip. Do I think that going in with that mindset is always a bad thing? No, because maybe you're a little nicer.
Yeah, service is higher.
I don't think that should be the sole reason for it. So it is a nice little plus, but it is just funny to see that usually our customers from California or out of state are the ones that are more generous with that.
Yeah.
So
how many guys do you have?
I've got 4.
4? And how recently did that change? Because for a while it was just you.
Yeah, for a while it was just me, and they're part-time, and so it's really, this time of year isn't super busy. So right now it's between me and one other guy primarily, but come winter time and when everybody switches back to their heat or back to their AC. So spring, we just came out of the busy season. We'll go back into it about October, November. And coming up this year, I would like to get 6 to 8 by the end of the year, just to help with the load, but also efficiency and quality.
Yeah.
You know, if the biggest thing for me, and one of the reasons why I stayed by myself for so long, is I don't want to ever feel like I'm rushed or anyone's rushed, so it takes the quality of the work down. And so it's kind of a cost reward thing at this point, trying to figure out what's that margin, what's that point to where we can still book a bunch of jobs, but be efficient and be effective and thorough and do the 5-star work that we do. And so it's kind of that gray area.
It's similar for us. I feel like any service company has that gray area because we're in the same spot. Do we hire? Do we wait? Do we push? Do we not? But I remember Jackson came to my house in a minivan, and I love it because we had Dan running around in a minivan forever.
Do you see him what he's whipping now?
Yeah.
That's how you know things are going well.
Nice.
It's good, you know?
Nice.
But that's the whole purpose of
We were
running
talking
a
about
business.
this truck at my house. Remember that? Just
Clumsy,
knocking
dude.
crap
I know,
over.
clumsy, just knocking stuff
That's
over,
okay.
dude. It's not the first. He showed up late today, too.
That's true. That's true.
He's all
I'm
over
always
the place.
I showed up a minute early and I was scared that I was going to get in trouble for being late. So
No. If Brad's involved, you're good.
Yeah. If it's at 10, Brad will be here like 10:15.
10:15.
Yeah.
hey, you know
All
what?
the time.
Fashionably late.
Yeah.
Fashionably late.
Yeah, extremely late.
No,
but-
it's speaking the good old van, it's just so cool. Honestly, I probably would have whipped the van forever. I loved that thing. It was great because it was cheap, did the job, but at the end of the day, it came down to the image of the company, professionalism. That's huge, right? I could pull up to your house in this piece of crap van. Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. And I could come give you the best service you've ever had, a 5-star service. But your initial perception of me as soon as I show up is, who is this guy and what is he running out of his mom's basement kind of thing, right? Or even like leaving. I just did a great thing for you. You're so happy. You're so excited. You see me leaving. You're like, he's probably not doing very good.
Yeah.
You know, but that was,
Poor
we had
bastard.
talked about that when I came to do that for you. And what's crazy is the shift. Like even just in that image, like that truck, you're not going to miss that truck.
Right.
It's massive. I'm very happy about it. I'm not complaining. I love it. But from an image standpoint, it's a total 180, right? From this little piece of crap minivan with the seats missing to this big old truck with branding on it. It's like, oh, it's Breeze. I see it. That's cool. You're not going to miss it. And now if I were to come to your house, you're like, oh, this guy represents the service he's giving rather than this doesn't make sense. This guy's pulling up in this and giving me this amazing service, but it doesn't connect, if that makes sense. Like it's a weird dynamic, but it's made a huge difference because we'll have customers now. They're like, oh, we saw the truck or, oh, like this or that. It's just cool to see that weird shift.
Yeah.
Because perception is everything, but it shouldn't. You know, I'm totally at fault for this, but quick to judge always. Like even companies, like I'll see companies' vans or companies' vehicles and quick to judge, even if they give the most amazing service. And so it's crazy just from a human standpoint, the perception of things. If something looks more professional, you're going to trust it more. Chances are, you know, going into the experience before words are even exchanged, you're going to have a higher perspective or higher, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess just better attitude towards it.
Yeah.
Of professionalism and not like it's a scam.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about that with the service. It is a weird shift how people see it, you know, but we get that too. More people are going to feel comfortable, you know, they're going to be willing to pay your prices. And we talked about it, like having uniform, like top to bottom, all your guys matching, showing up with the shoe covers, you know, a wrap van, you know, a good looking van, like they're going to pay the extra money for it. Because it's just like you say, it's a weird dynamic on how all that kind of intertwines. But we had it in the beginning. Like our guy would roll around in a van to start off.
It was around the same time.
Yeah, and it was so, and we hated it because like where we came from, we were a big corporate company, so we knew how we had to look, you know. But it was like it cost a lot of money to get there. But you get so much more respect right away when they see a nice vehicle out in the front. Given my back tail light is duct taped right now, but that's besides the point. Look out for the concrete posts; they pop out and bust your headlights. But no, it's a weird shift on how a service professional should be, even for like all service trades. They want a clean looking person, you know. So like,
absolutely
for us, like we try to be clean shaven, you know, guys looking the part, and you get
Brad's really excelling.
That's why I hide in the office.
Yeah.
I'll never leave.
He has his days. He gets a haircut like every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I always see because he uses a messenger app on our business one to message the barber. So I always get notifications. Yeah, I'm available at 12. And I'm like, Brad's getting a haircut. I throw it on the calendar. Oh, man. So what's I feel like everyone has a weird look on like duct cleaning. A lot of people are very like uneducated on it.
Absolutely.
So what's the sole purpose on why people should get their duct cleaning done?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially from the standpoint of where we live, the environment that we live in here in Southern Utah. Number one, just being extremely dusty and the amount of construction that happens here. Like they're throwing up homes faster than babies. Yeah. My wife and I, we just moved into our new house, and the house across from us, they put up the framing in a day. And so just to speak to that, apart. A lot of these homes have never, ever had the ducting cleaned. And when you're constructing at this rate, you know for a fact that these guys do not give a crap about your house or what they put in the vents. To them, it's just a trash can, right? Like if I'm up on the second story building this house and I'm not going to go to the trash can, I'm going to throw my Monster can in the vent, or I'm going to throw my cigarette in the vent. Like you're never going to find it. And so the biggest thing, especially here, is just respiratory issues. So my company's Breeze. Our motto is breathe easy. It's a play on words with Breeze, but also just because in northern Utah, you have floor vents, right?
Yep.
And a lot of places in the country, you have floor vents. And with floor vents, with gravity, obviously, they're going to be super filthy. You got kids' toys, pet hair, dust, crap, all this stuff. But here in southern Utah, we have primarily ceiling vents for efficiency and things like that. Those aren't going to be super physically dirty, but your ceiling vents are what contain all your allergens and anything that's harmful to breathe. You can tell I'm congested. It's funny. I'm trying to help people with their allergies, but it gives me allergies.
We don't do our own at our own house.
Yeah. So that's the biggest thing here is because we have these ceiling vents, all the excess dust, but especially all the allergens and everything's already getting moved around so much in our environment between wind and construction, things like that. It's rare to live in a place where the air is cleaner outside than in most of the time. And so that's the biggest thing, especially down here in southern Utah, is just creating that healthy environment in your home. At the end of the day. Sorry, I kind of steered off of your question a little bit, but
yeah, I know like in some cases in the HVAC world, like you could grow mold in your ducting, like
absolutely.
But for me, it's like, if you look at your filters, just look at your filters. If they're just caked like ours, we have red sand, so that sand gets into your filters, and it's like, if you're like me, you don't go by the rules and you don't change your filters for a year.
I'm the biggest hypocrite in the world because I tell people every day to change your air filter every 90 days. And I can't tell you the last time I changed mine. It's one of those things I always say I'm going to do when I get home and then I don't. But it's crazy how crucial that is. Like, it's something that's so simple, and not just for your ducting, but the longevity of your HVAC unit as well, because that filter is an intake. So it's just like any car, if that filter is clogged, your system's working 3 times harder, 5 times harder, so it's like, you want to keep that clean, but it also helps keep your ducting clean to an extent, No, absolutely. And so that's one of the frustrations we have with customers is if they don't request that we bring a filter, they say they're going to do it on their own, and then they don't. So we make the ducts all clean and pretty, and then 3 months later, they're filthy again. It's like, well, yeah, no duh.
Yeah, you left the same filter.
You still have 3 inches of dust on your filter, and it all circulates. So touching on mold, that's been a really big thing, at least for our company down here in southern Utah, is the chance of you actually having mold in your system down here in our environment. We asked ChatGPT one time to run the numbers on, look, what's the percentage or chance that you'd actually have mold? And it was like 0.000 something percent that you actually have mold. Because if you think about it, with our dry environment,
so dry,
especially the ducting being in the ceiling most of the time, how is the moisture going to get in? Like, I get it if you had a flood and the doors were closed, whatever, that's a different story. Or if you had a humidifier underneath a vent for years, totally different story. And we do a lot of work with Service Masters and a couple other service or restoration companies that do deal with mold. But the biggest thing for our company that separates us from other ducting companies here in southern Utah, because there's great companies down here that do ducting. Same with plumbing. Like there's, you were telling me there's 100 something.
Yeah, 117. It's the competition's thick here.
It's crazy. So even duct cleaning, like there's only, I think 4 really solid companies down here that do duct cleaning, but they've been here for 15, 20 years and they do amazing work. I'm not saying they don't. And I think their quality, everything's fantastic. The only problem is a lot of these companies here in southern Utah charge you for mold removal, whether you need it or not. It's just built into their cost. And so my biggest issue with that, and when
are they actually doing it though?
If there's no mold in there, what are they? It's like,
well, it's like, if do you go, are you paying for them to go through the process?
It's like we were just talking to Mallory about the hospital's skin to skin contact. They charge you for it. You never even touch
that itemized bill.
Yeah.
No, it's that's that for me when I was starting the company, kind of feeling out the direction I wanted to go and what kind of equipment did I want to use, things like that, is I reached out to these companies, anonymously just to get some information, and every single one of them got back to me with, we're included is a mold treatment, and we're going to do this. And it's like, well, your cost is $3,000 for something that should cost maybe $500. And my biggest issue with that, number one, is, like I said, I was going into the medical field before I started this. My passion is just helping people, and especially health. Like, my wife and I also own a health and wellness business. And for me, it was one of those things. Why would you put chemicals in a system that doesn't need it? Number one, but the chemicals that are used to treat mold are super harsh and they stick around forever. So now, let's say you didn't have a mold problem at all. You're breathing in these chemicals now basically forever. Crazy. Until it goes away. So for me, it was like, what's more detrimental to your health? Having all these chemicals in your system, or just not having a service done that you don't need?
Right.
If that makes sense. Like, that was kind of a weird way to put it.
It defeats the purpose almost.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it was, so for me, one, I don't want to say challenge or hump, but with my company, we do charge a lot less than other companies. And it's not because our quality of work is less. In my opinion, I have to say that it's better. But it's just that we do not believe in charging you for things you don't need.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, being in this industry, I mean, you guys have started around the same time. Mm-hmm. It's just that one thing I've noticed with other people in the service industry is it's really just trying to scrape everything they can out of people.
Man, we talk about this all the time.
And especially like our clientele, a lot of our clientele is older. Like, I'd say probably 75, 80%.
Retired.
Yeah, they're all retired. 65 and older. They're going to believe anything you tell them. Mm-hmm. You could tell them you need that super crazy ionized whatever, to put in your system, or you need this super special form of metal for your plumbing, like whatever it is, right? I know nothing about plumbing, so forgive me. But they're just going to believe you. But at the end of the day, you're going to get an extra $1, $2, $3 grand out of these people for nothing.
That are on fixed incomes. Exactly. They're living off pensions or retirements without having nothing.
So for me, like, that just makes me sick just thinking about it. Especially being a local business too, and you guys can understand this. Word of mouth is everything.
Mm-hmm. Especially here in St. George, being so small. St. George is the biggest. How did I hear it? Someone told me one time, the biggest island that you can never escape, words wise. Mm-hmm. Like, your reputation, your perception will get to everybody eventually.
Quick.
Very quickly.
I love that.
It's quick here.
Everybody, it's like a small town. It's a big small town is what they were saying. And so
a lot of wards. Like, that's how it travels. Like, where we come from, but like, that's how it went down. Like, not to get touched on that, but like, something happened, and like, our customer base was like a lot of the LDS, and then after that, like, it touched base with the church, and like, wildfire, boom, like, our customers just died. And
absolutely,
this wasn't us. This was a different company, by the way. But it was just like, it just went out so fast. But with like word of mouth, we have St. George word of mouth, the real St. George word of mouth, like on Facebook.
Hurricane word of mouth.
Yeah, word of mouth. Yeah. But you don't have that up in Salt Lake. You have like communities, like it's like Brookside community, and it's just like a small group. But you don't like, it's so massive out here. You have I think there's like 200,000 or like upwards of like 100,000 people on just that one page. Yeah, and that's majority of St. George.
It's half of St. George.
Yeah, it's like majority of the population here, and they're all on that word of mouth. So it's like one bad review, everyone knows about it.
Absolutely. And so going back to upcharges and things like that, charging for things you don't need, that was huge for us just to start out. Is number one, not charging for people for things they don't need, because at the end of the day, I don't think that's morally right. I think that's super messed up, especially with this older community that are living paycheck to paycheck or things like that, or even younger
crazy
people.
To me is it's this rhetoric that we're saying is common amongst young people like us, but the
older generation
does not care.
It's sad how much, like, because we talk about it a lot, like in the beginning stages of this podcast, we talked about exactly what you're saying. Everything you're saying, we've spoken on, where it's like, that's why we started Dino. That's why we went the route we did, because it was like, you start seeing that slaughter the cow mentality, you know? So they go in and just take everything possible from these people. And we couldn't, like, Brad was in the manager role, you know, GM, and I was in field. So I was the one that had to sell these prices and go in with that mentality of like, well, they, you know, I have to hit my quota, but I still was just like, I just did things the way I wanted to do it. Sometimes my boss wasn't thrilled because he's like, oh, you should have got more out of that job. And I was like, they didn't need that. Like, they wanted a tankless sold on every job. And I'm like, it's one little old lady. She does not need a tankless. Absolutely. You know, $thousands worth of equipment, or she could get by with 150-gallon water heater. Like, why am I gonna get more out of her when that doesn't suit her? So for us as the service professionals, they call us because they have no education in it. They rely on us to be the professionals to educate them on what they need and not rip them off. But we run into a lot of that nowadays where it's like so many service providers are just like, how much can we pull out of these people on a daily basis? And there's like no care for them. Like,
absolutely.
I used to have people tell me all the time, well, I guess I'll just eat top ramen this week, you know? And it's just like, oh, you know, like you just like, that's a gut punch. Because mainly here it's retired. So it's like, that's your grandma, that's your grandpa. Like, that's how I see them. I'm like, man, that's like, if someone came in and did that to my grandma, I'd meet them in the alley, you know? Like, that's not how it should be.
Seriously. Well, at the end of the day, our customers are people. Mm-hmm. Especially, like you said, like a grandparent. Like, that is somebody's grandma.
And a lot of them, like, memories are getting shot, you know? And so they're just like, whatever, sweetheart, whatever we think is best. Well, I'll just pay for it.
We'll pull up to a job, and they're cutting out coupons, you know, to go to Burger King or like whatever. And you're sitting here trying to charge them an extra $1,000 while you see them struggling. Mm-hmm. Number one, with their health, especially the older community, like the chances are they have some health problems.
Oh yeah.
Disability, things like that. Now you're just trying to reap everything out of them when they already don't have that much to begin with. Yeah. I want to touch on something though. With that is a quick story. We had a customer who their dryer vent, also PSA to everybody, if your dryer vent is dirty, please do not ever buy an at-home kit and try to get it out, because
it's like the majority of the calls he gives us is this situation.
It's one of those little drill attachments with a brush. In theory, it seems pretty cool. I promise you, it's not worth it. Half the calls we get for dryer vents are to get those out. And then you end up spending more money. Just pay the professionals to do it the right way. It's not that much more. It's so much. Wow. English is hard.
English is hard.
It is English well worth it to just spend the extra money for that. But to touch on this, we had a customer who had gotten one of those at-home kits and had actually separated the dryer vent from the connecting piece in the wall. And I don't have the expertise on how to fix that. My guys don't have the expertise on how to fix that. We professionalize in cleaning out the duct, not the repair and things like that. And so I had originally called a handyman, and I won't say who. I had originally called a handyman because I had gotten his card that morning. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. I'll have him come out and take a look to see what it would be. He came out, and this particular customer was a single mom of 7 kids.
I remember this.
Yeah. 7 kids, single mom, already struggling. And she was already super stressed about it. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't think I could afford a repair. And I was like, well, it has to be done, but let me see what I can do for you. And so I had asked this handyman, I said, hey, are you open to doing some trade? Like, she's a single mom of 7 kids. How can we take care of her? Like, anything I can do for you, I'll come clean your ducts, your dryer vent, whatever. Like, let's just figure something out to be able to help this lady out. So this gentleman shows up probably 3 hours after he told the lady that he'd be there, and then quoted her like $1,800 to literally just cut into the wall, put it back on, and tape it. $1,800.
Damn, that's more than a plumber.
I know, man.
Maybe I'm in the wrong trade.
So literally right then, I then called Brad, and I was like, hey, Brad, this is the situation. This is what this dipshit did. Sorry.
No, hey, it's okay. It's what
this guy did. And I was like, what can we do? Without hesitation, instantly, Brad was like, we'll figure it out. Not a big deal.
We did. Michael did.
And Michael did it. And to me, safe to say, I've never contacted that guy ever again, nor will I ever.
So I'm like, so much of me is like, call a plumber. Don't call a handyman. Call a plumber. Like, sorry, handyman.
In my defense, his card said specializes in plumbing. So
yes, I
not specialized in taking every cent out of you.
Yeah.
But just that concept though, like, and I tell my customers all the time, anything home related, like plumbing, anything like that, I always refer to you guys, because being in the service industry, you really get to see what people are all about. Like you said, like who's going to charge people extra, who's looking for a quota, who's doing this, and who's actually here to take care of people.
Yep.
And so anything home related, I always refer to you guys. And I even tell my customers this. I was like, Brad and his team are the only people that I trust in the service industry to do a good job for you and to take care of you.
Awesome.
And that is huge, right? And I would want the same for other people to say that about my company.
Right.
And so that is everything. Just the fact that having you guys, but just people in general who you can genuinely trust to do good work and to actually take care of people is huge. Because like I said, I called Brad and his first response was like, don't worry about it. We got it.
We'll take care of it. Yeah,
we got it. And I think Michael was there the same day.
Same
day, fixed it, got it taken care of, and didn't charge her.
Yeah, we didn't.
Did it for free.
But see, this is what nice is when Jackson will give us a preface of what we're dealing with, then
we know what we're walking into.
Yeah, it's so easy to handle.
I mean, and that was the whole point of starting this business. Obviously, it's like not the fastest race to the bottom. Like, we're here to be a business at the end of the day, but at the same time, we started this business and with the goal of helping people. We're helping, like, we've gone to so many jobs where it's like a grandma, and it's like our basic price, $100 to go out there and do whatever. But it's like she called me out and she's like, oh, my hose bib, like, it's just dripping, and all it was a packing nut. So I went out there, just tightened it, and I was like, is it good? Because she didn't have money. She's like, and so it tightens up the handle a little bit. So she opened it up. She's like, oh, yeah, that's perfect. She's like, what do I owe you? I'm like, nothing. You're good.
Yeah.
She's like, huh? I was like, I'm not going to charge you. Like, it took me literally walking back to my truck and back to tighten it. Like, you're good. So she gave me zucchini bread, and I was like, that's cool. Yeah. I was happy.
That's better than any money.
But
homemade zucchini bread.
Dude, but that's the end goal for us is like, we want to be able to grow our business and still be able to help people, right? Because if you grow, the people that do have the money and pay you your price that you're asking for, like, it gives you the ability to help the people struggling. So I always tell people that, like, eventually you're going to help someone with this, and we want to get into like charities and all that good stuff. But I mean, that's the biggest thing. A lot of it is what we're running into today in all service trades. So it's good to see like good companies out there. Is there's so many that aren't good. There's so many that like their work is good, but who they are as a person is dog shit. Yeah. It's just like,
of a charity, I want to talk to you guys about that after this.
Yeah.
But kind of to touch on what you were saying and back to word of mouth, for example, right? The customers that are willing to pay, whatever, that's great. But the opportunities you have to do little things like that, to go and literally just tighten it and not charge her. Guess what? That lady is going to refer everybody she knows for the rest of her life to you. That is 10 million times more valuable than any cent that you could get from this lady.
100%. I actually have a story on this. You remember the call we got from the lady at the salon? She was in the salon getting her hair cut.
Oh, yeah.
And we went to her house and did something for free. And she's in there blabbing about us to everybody in the salon.
Are the best people. Yes.
And then the haircut, the lady giving her a haircut actually called us because something had happened with their house. And so you don't know when it's going to come back, but it's going to come back.
But she was just getting her hair done. And that's the best place to do it.
Telling everybody in there. Yeah.
Call Dino. But it's like you say, I mean, that's the biggest thing is they'll remember that. And that's what I always say. Like some of our guys, like, you have to break them into that habit. Like, hey, we're not going to charge that. We should be charging. And it's just like, dude, like, I promise you it'll come back tenfold. Like, I always ran, like, when I was a service tech before we started Dino, I always ran it where it's like, treat the customer right and it'll come back. Like, I always believed in karma, believe in God. So it's
Absolutely.
Like, you do things right, like, you will be rewarded at the end. And if not, hey, at least you did good and, like, inside you feel right,
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that's the biggest thing. But I did the most sales at my last company. And I treated everyone with the utmost respect. And I did everything by the book on, like, what they needed and didn't need. Like I said, like, if you don't need it, I'm not going to offer it to you. I'm going to offer what I think suits you professionally. And somehow, some way, like, the end of the month, I'd be like at like 30,000 in sales, and all of a sudden it's like 80 grand. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess I did all right. But, and I'd had no idea how it showed up. And I'm just like,
right. And that also came from you not upselling them too.
Yeah. That's why I say more people were like, they call and they're like, hey, I want David. Hey, I want, so-and-so, because you do right by them. Our biggest thing is when we start this, like, we want to be your family plumber again. We want to be your family tradesman again, where it's like, oh, let me just call David, because we don't have that anymore, right? So it's like for you, like someone's like, oh man, I have like bad allergies or whatever. Oh, I got Jackson over here. Let me give you his number.
Well, and that's so crucial, being local, especially like we talked about here, how word just spreads like wildfire. That's huge.
Oh yeah,
that family plumber style. I was talking to somebody yesterday that they came from California and compared St. George to like the 80s as far as like kids just playing in the street, like the safety. But even from a service business standpoint, it's like, yeah, you really don't have a family plumber very much anymore. But I feel like here you do, if you do a good job and if you treat these people like their family. And that's one thing that I stress every single day is, number one, you're going into these people's safe space. Like, your home is your sanctuary.
Most of them are moms at home alone with their husband at work.
Exactly. Yep. So but then like, you're even in these people's closets. Like, you are in the nitty gritty of their safe space. That's so vulnerable. You have to treat these people like family to make them feel comfortable.
Oh yeah.
And if you do that, like we talked about, that will come around tenfold. Yep. 1 5-star. When I started this, I had a mentor. I can't remember exactly how he put it, but he basically told me, he said that 1 5-star review is worth more than like 10 grand or something.
Oh yeah.
When you look at the perspective of everything, like, knock on wood somewhere. My company has all 5-star reviews, and that's something that we have stressed regardless, relentlessly. And when we go into it, I'll come to you and say, hey, Brad, we want to make sure we provide you nothing short of a 5-star service. If there's anything else we can do for you, please let me know. And so I try to always stress, like, if they're moving, help them move some boxes.
Oh yeah.
Or whatever, like, do anything you can. And not that you're being disingenuous. Like, you don't want to go into it like it's malicious or you're just trying to get a few extra bucks. No, it's, hey, what's up, fam? Like, my family member, let me help you. Because I know for a fact that if I help you and I make you feel good, you're going to go out and tell everybody about it. Yep. And that's huge. That's huge. And so I don't say this to brag or anything like that, but I have not put out an ad for my company in over 5 months.
Crazy. So we cut back on it.
We've been fully booked, and it's all from referrals and word of mouth. Just from like that, the lady telling the hairdresser and everybody in there about Dino. Same thing with us. It's like, oh, we'll do Aunt Susan, whatever, and she'll tell every single one of her 15 children who live here, or whatever it is, like every single one of her neighbors. And that, to me, has probably been one of the coolest achievements with our company, is just, obviously advertising is great, but the ability to not put out an advertisement and still be fully booked just based on referrals, that's the most rewarding feeling in the world, because then you know that you're doing a good job, number one, but also you're being genuine. You're helping these people truly. You're not trying to just take everything out of them, and you're leaving them with a smile, essentially. And just good things to say about you. And that is more valuable than any amount of money you could get from a job.
Absolutely.
I love it.
I was wondering why I wasn't seeing your ads anymore. That's cool.
Yeah. I love it. Like, we were just talking about, like, Brad, we were talking about, like, man, we want to bring people onto the podcast, different tradesmen, and he threw it out there. We had a bunch of people hit us up, but we were talking to Mallory and Blake about it. And it's like, they were saying, the nice thing about this is what we're going to find out really fast. And like, mainly with us too, like, we can read through people's BS fairly quickly. So it's like, we're going to see who the genuine people are when they come on here and who the people who aren't genuine are.
Absolutely.
And it's quick. So that's like what's so nice about you. I'm just over here smiling the whole time because I'm like, hell yeah. That's what everything.
This is why I wanted Jackson on, because I've known, we're about a year now, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
And he came to my house, and everything he said with me. And I'm sitting here like, come on, dude. Like, we know each other.
Yeah.
Knock it off, please. You're making me blush.
Yeah, you're making me hot right now. I'm moist.
Dying over there.
But that's the cool thing, though, is like, everything that you believe in and the way you're going about it is like our sole belief in what we're doing. So it's so good to see that out in the community, because like I said, you just don't see it anymore. And it's something that is like gut wrenching to us, because it's like, it is such a small town that literally if you screw anyone over, like you said, they know about it like following day. And that's the last thing.
Yeah.
Like, I used to hate that at the last place, was like, you'd walk in and you see people and you just kind of look the other way, like, oh man, I know I way overcharge you for that based off of what we had to charge. And I'm just like, plumbing and trades are expensive in general. Like, they're not cheap, but there's some things where you're like, all right, that toilet flapper ball should not been $500 to replace. You know, there's just like, there's little things where it's like for us, it costs us like $350 to show up at your doorstep for all our overhead, how many calls we run a month or whatever. But there's lost leads. That's how we look at them. Like, hey, I'm going to do a good job here. This job is for free, technically, in our eyes, because, like, on the back end, like, we know we lost money to do it, but we left a good taste in their mouth. We didn't, like, overcharge them. We did things right. They're going to let their family know, and that goes beyond anything else, so we'll take it, you know?
Absolutely. Well, and especially living here, and I'm sure you guys have had this, like, we run into our customers in daily life all the time.
All the time.
Like, especially in St. George, if there's any sort of event going on, everybody and their dog's going to be there.
Yep.
You're going to run into your customers. And the way that we like to think about it is, if you run into these people, do you want to be, like you said, do you want to be ashamed or like a dog with a tail between its legs? Or do you want that person to come up to you and be like, hey, Jackson, so good to see you. I told everybody about you. Or just, hey, nice to see you. Hope you're doing well.
Yep.
Rather than, I'm going to duck and walk away.
Oh, I hated that. Now it's like,
that's
you
terrible.
See everyone in wave, like, what's up? How you
That's
been?
terrible. Well, and I had worked at a gym previously, and same thing, quota, upsell this, upsell that. And it's like, well, if you don't do that, you lose your job. So it's one of those moral battles. It's like, do I do the right thing, or do I
not feed my
provide?
family?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
But even with that, it was like, I would have to see those people at the gym, and it was like, don't look at me.
Yeah.
And that feeling sucks.
Yeah,
that sucks so bad. And so now having that experience and being on the other end, it's like, I want to do a good enough job to where if I see you in public, you want to come talk to me. Absolutely. And you don't think or feel negatively towards me. Not that I think that image is everything. Like, I don't know how I'm trying to put that. Like, I don't want you to come up to me thinking I'm the coolest guy in the world.
No, but in the sense you want them to be able to come up to you if they want to. You know what I mean? And be like, man, I respect him. He helped us out when we needed it. Like, I could go say what's up. And that you have that family kind of relationship. I always say that, like, I'm going to make family with all my customers. Like, whether you like it or not, we're going to be family by the end of this. Because I want that. Like, I've been out with my wife and 3 kids, and we're walking, and someone will come up, hey, David, is this your family? You know, and it's just like, it's such a smooth transaction, and it's like, cool. Like, my wife's like, how do you know him? Did it work for him? But it's like, you want to be able to do that and not dodge them, you know?
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
it's tight out here. It's very
tight
community.
Well, and just, I think obviously being proud in the work you do is one thing in itself, and that's huge. And people can tell. Like, people can tell if you really care about what you're doing. Like, don't get me wrong. Is duct cleaning the coolest thing in the world? No.
Neither is plumbing.
It's not. Exactly. It's not.
I hate it here.
But I take great pride in doing the best job I can, because I know that you're going to tell. Like, if I come and I'm doing a half-assed job, you're going to know just based on my demeanor and my verbiage, like things I'm talking to you about, you're going to be able to see right through that.
Oh, yeah.
And then after that, you know, if I see you in public, you're not going to want to talk to me. You're not going to want to even speak of my company's name because you could tell that I didn't care. And so that's just, it's so, so huge, treating people like family, especially here where we do have such a culture of family. That's everything. If you can treat people like they're your family, number one, you're naturally just going to do a better job.
Oh, yeah.
Subconsciously. Like, you're going to take way better care of these people without even thinking about it, because you're treating them like family, or you're thinking of them like family. Not that you're thinking in your head like, oh, if I do a great job and I'm super genuine, then they're going to refer me 10 people. No. It's like,
you should just do that out of the goodness of your heart.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's who you should be as a human being. Like, that should be your moral compass, is like, they're paying me good money to do a job. I'm gonna give them the best service I possibly could give them. You know, so I'm for that 110%. So we want to give. Well, I mean, we know like making $1 is not cheap. You know, we got to go bust our tail. And the same thing for those people. They had to work so many hours to pay for this. So it's like, you want to give them the best thing. And then your name's on it. I'm big about like, be a man of your word. You say you're going to do something, do it with all your might to do it right.
Yeah, just integrity.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't tell you the amount of jobs that we've gone to and walked away with nothing. And obviously that is a terrible feeling. Losing money is always a terrible feeling. But the, not repercussion, but the outcome of that is usually always positive in some way, whether it's a referral or, hey, we couldn't help you today. Here's somebody that can. And I know that this person's going to help you. And that's you guys in my case, because we refer everybody to you. But it always sucks losing money. But just that feeling of, yeah, it sucks. But at the end of the day, I just want you to get taken care of. Don't care about the money.
We've done that with customers, like especially on the HVAC side, because we only have one guy running, so we can't get all the calls.
Absolutely.
I'll refer them to someone else, but that same customer will still call us back, even though they use someone else.
Right.
Yeah. And we don't even have relationships with any of these companies. We just see that their work is good. And I've like known a guy or two there, and we were like, oh, their work's good. I don't know about their pricing, but obviously if your AC's out and it's 115 degrees, you need somebody, and we can't be that somebody
Absolutely.
today for you. I'll refer them to one of my friends who works for a company. And
that's a scary thing though too.
Oh man,
that's super scary, because I mean, like I said,
it's your name on the line.
It's your name on the line.
Bad referral. It's like, well, you referred me to them and they took advantage of me.
It has nothing to do with what you did or the quality of work you did.
It's who you sent them.
Exactly. But so that's what another thing that's just huge about in this industry, really knowing who you can trust and who's going to do a great job and who's going to actually take care of people. And that's what like I said earlier, what I tell customers is, being in the service industry, I work with so many different people, because we work in restoration, we work in new builds. So everything in the service industry we deal with on a daily basis, people, companies, things like that. And the way that I try to explain to customers is, like I said to you, at the end of the day, we're in the business of helping people. The money comes second. And so then I'll go, I've got this company, Dino Plumbing, Brad and his team. They're the only other people that I've found personally. I'm not saying there's not other companies out here in St. George that do that. But in my experience, they are the only people I trust to actually take care of you first.
Yeah.
And that's huge, because that's my name on the line now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm trusting you. And I do trust you guys with everything. It's just that that's my name out there now, because if you show up and you do a bad job, that looks bad on me.
Yep.
And then that's it. Like, that's cut ties. It's like with that handyman. I'm never going to call him again.
Never again.
Because he made me look bad, because the lady called me after he showed up crying.
Oh, that's the worst feeling too.
Yeah.
That
We've
really
burned
is.
through so many restoration companies, because we do the same thing hand in hand. So it's like, we come out, they called us because they're flooding, and it's like, well, we refer a mitigation team. So it's like, we've burned so many ties with people, because I always tell, like, they're, mitigation, they'll take you out to lunch and stuff like that to try to,
win you
over.
Wine and dine.
Yeah, and it's like, but I always tell people, I'm like, dude, I don't care about the incentives you guys give. I could give, two, you know what I'm saying? But I don't care. I was like, just come in. I'm like, do a good job. I'm like, because I'm referring you. If you take advantage of these people, tell them they need to rip out their entire house because, like, they flooded in their garage. Like, dude, I'm going to find you in an alley. Like, that's my customer that I trusted in you to take care of them, and now you're not doing right by them. Like, I need you to help them. You know?
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. I mean, we've only been in business. What are you at? Almost 2 years?
No, we're just over a year.
Just over a year.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're almost to the 2 year mark, and it is crazy the amount of relationships that are no longer there.
Yeah.
Or people that, upon your first impression, it was like, oh, these guys are awesome. They're great.
Tons
gone.
of those. Yeah.
Like, first interaction with a customer, it's gone. Like, it's a Rolodex of people that you thought you could trust, you thought you could use, totally burned.
We know that all too well.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's also cool. I don't know if cool is the right word, but how quickly you can see people's true colors, especially in the service industry, like we talked about, who's actually going to take care of these people. You can tell so fast. Like with these restoration companies, right? We've dealt with a few restoration companies that my company will never work for again because it was like that. Oh, you had a flood in the garage. Let's tear out your entire house.
Yeah.
because of this. And not even just that, like even the handyman thing, I'm going to charge you $1,800 to cut a hole in the wall and retape this thing. That's absurd. And it's even little stuff. Like with restoration, we've had a fire in, the very back room of the house. We've got to tear up everything, repaint everything, recarpet this whole thing. At the end of the day, you're looking at a $50,000 bill.
Yeah.
When I could call somebody else that'll come in and do the job for $500.
Yeah.
And I know they're doing a good job.
They're doing it the right way.
Exactly. And that's just everything. It's so vital and so crucial.
There's just a lot of scam artists out here nowadays. It's sad, but it's what we're running into, and that's why I like having the companies, Breeze, like having those type of companies that like really care about the customer are the ones you want.
Absolutely.
Like I always tell people, like we even tell people all the time, like, dude, get 2 more quotes, like call other people, like if you want to, like by all means, like we don't care, like we're here to help you. If you feel like we're not the team for you, then we're not the team for you. But like we always like, if they're like, we're like, get multiple quotes. Like we're not holding you to anything, but we want you to get service. This is what you need. But if we're not for you, like that's okay.
We do that with almost every single call that we get. Is we'll give them a quote and we'll say, please get other quotes, call around, ask around. There are other great companies out there.
Yeah.
They're fantastic. But I know we always tell them, like, always ask for hidden fees. Always ask for upcharges.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, same thing. Make sure they're licensed. Make sure they're insured.
Totally.
There's so many unlicensed people here.
Oh, it's insane. But we always tell people, like, hey, go get other quotes. And it's not like I don't care about you and getting your business, because that's not true. Like, your business would be awesome. We'd love to take care of you. So it's not that attitude. It's more of a, I know that we're going to do the best job for you.
Right.
Please go explore for yourself. Take as much time as you need. Get quotes. Talk to people. If it's not us at the end of the day, that's great. All we care about is you getting help. So if it's not us, then that's totally fine.
Yep.
We hope that you come back to us. We hope you see our value and what we can do for you. And you will not be disappointed with your experience. But please, go find other options. Go ask other questions. Find out information. Figure out what's right for you. And so I think that's cool that you said that, because that's huge, because that's just genuine.
Oh, yeah.
Because like I said, it's not coming from an attitude of, I don't need your business.
Yeah.
Like, please go screw you for even thinking about going to talk to other people.
Yeah, we would love your business, but like we want you to feel comfortable.
Exactly.
We don't ever want you to feel like we're taking advantage of you. Like we'll beat anyone's price. We'll match a price as long as they're a legitimate business, they're not some handyman saying he could do plumbing and you know what I mean? Like,
well, and that's a mental switch.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's just psychology. If you say that in that way, it's like, oh, they care about me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not even going to call. And that happens probably 95% of the time after we say, please go get other quotes. Within 30 seconds, they'll be like, you know what? Let's just schedule.
Our favorite even is like, let's say they go and get other quotes and then they call back, and it's almost like we kind of knew this was going to happen, because we know who we suggest people on purpose to, like, hey, call these people. It'd be a good idea. But people call their own. They have free will, right? But they always come, not always, but most of them come back at the end of the day.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, they wanted a lot more. Yeah. And they're trying to sell us on this and this and that. And we're like,
yeah, you don't need all that.
Yeah, like, would it be nice to have those things? Yeah, but, it's like softeners. Like, we put in, like, a good residential grade softener for a good price. Mm-hmm. Is there higher end ones? Yeah, but most of these people can't, they don't want to spend that much. And, like, they're getting sold on this, well, this guy said he has this softener, but it's this much money. We're like, it does the same thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're not going to rip you off. Like, this, I promise you this is going to do good and save you money.
Yeah.
Like, if you want that, I could get you that, but I'm promising you it doesn't make sense. You're going to waste another $3,000 for something that's the exact same as this.
If not more.
Yeah.
If not more.
And it's not box store. Like, the box stores are trash. They'll break in 3 years. This is a great brand.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, it's like perfect grade for what we need.
Yeah.
Those brands are for commercial, and they're trying to put them in a residential. Like, you're just getting ripped off at this point.
Totally. I tell people the same thing, even just with air filters, right? Like, I always tell people, don't get the cheapest one. So don't get the $5, $10 one.
Right.
But once you get to like $15, $20, like, they have air filters at the store that are like $100.
Oh, it's crazy.
But once you get to that 15, like, mid-range, it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. It is the same thing. And if anything, it makes it the more expensive ones are worse for your system.
Oh, yeah.
It's like us with a mask. It can't breathe.
Yeah, it's preventing it.
So normally it's like, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Normally it's like, oh, the more expensive, the better. But with stuff like air filters or like you said, the systems, it's not always the case.
Yep.
You don't always need to spend more to get a better result. If anything, spending more can a lot of the times hurt it.
Oh,
Cause more damage.
Yeah.
For
And
sure.
and even just that, like not upselling them on the more expensive. Because I could easily be like, yeah, I'll get you a $75 air filter and I'll charge you a $20 convenience fee for this. I don't need to do that. I can get you a $15 filter that's going to do the exact same thing, probably going to be better for your system in the long run. I'm not going to charge you extra for it either, because that's just silly.
Crazy.
But same thing with that system. Like you get the $3,000 system, or you can get the $20,000 system.
Yep.
That's meant for commercial properties.
Yeah,
It's the same thing in like HVAC, but it's the Ferrari of ACs. Like, well, is anyone looking at your system?
Yeah,
What's the worry here?
We ran into a job where it was like we went out and they're like, "Oh, this company said we needed a new water softener because ours isn't working." We're like, "Well, how old is it?" They're like, "It's only 4 years old." So we ran our tests. We're like, "It's working fine. Like it's doing everything it needs to do. Like you should still get another 10 years out of this system." And he's like, "They tried charging me $8,000 for it," and I was like, "You know what I mean? Like you don't need it, dude." Like,
well, right now in HVAC, the biggest thing, especially through summer with these bigger companies, is go in, sell a system. No matter what's wrong with it, sell a system. Our motto is go in and let's try to fix it first. If it really can't be fixed, then obviously you need a system. But
weigh your options, you know.
Yeah.
Well, 99% of the time, it's a lot cheaper to fix your existing system.
so much cheaper
than to get a new one. We find that with dryers. Like you'll have big companies, appliance companies like Boulevard Homes and places like that that'll come in for these customers and their dryer's 2 years old or a year old, and they'll tell them they have to replace it. That's a $1,500 dryer. When in reality, your dryer duct is just completely clogged.
Yeah.
And they know that too, but they're just coming in there to sell them a new one.
Yeah.
And then it still doesn't work at the end, and they're
Well, that's what's so sad is we have so many customers that will buy like a dryer, for example. We'll have so many customers that'll buy a brand new dryer, and as soon as they plug it in, it's still not working.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they call us, and it's like, well, yeah, no shit. Look at what we just got out of this. Of course it's not going to work.
Oh, that's
it's
crazy.
like us wearing a mask. If you wear a mask all the time, you're going to have respiratory issues. You're going to fail. Same thing. So it's crazy to me the amount of companies or people that will identify the problem but try to sell you on getting something completely irrelevant to the problem. It's like the mechanic story, right?
Yeah.
You know that this is wrong with your car. You know for a fact. But you go in and now you have a list of 10 different things that aren't even related to that problem.
Yep.
And so I saw a video this morning, actually. It was a mechanic, and the lady came in because her back seat wouldn't lock. Like she had put down the seat, but it wouldn't lock. And so the mechanic walks over and pulls the seatbelt off of the latch and then puts it back. And it says, this bill will be $1,700.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just stuff like that. It's in that situation, kind of what you touched on. It's like, if you can go and just fix it, like turning on a switch, I'm not going to charge you for that.
I think,
But there are people that will.
Oh, yeah.
There'll be people that come in and say, oh, we need to redo your entire electrical because there's a fault. When in reality, you just push a button.
Switch, yeah.
Yeah, dude. We what was it the other day? My mind just went blank. Anyways, we do it all. We do it a lot. My mind went completely blank. I don't remember. But anyways, we do it a lot where it's like, I think even for Blue Form over here, didn't Mike will come out and like just move some wire and we're like, nah, we're good.
Yeah.
We're like, send us a bill. And you guys are like, nah.
Yeah, it was so quick and easy. It was just like, no, Michael was like, dude, it took me like no time, you know? So it's just treating the customer right goes a long way for sure.
Absolutely. We had 2 weeks ago, it was a Monday. We had 4 jobs that we didn't get a single cent from because it was either two of them, it was just simple stuff like that, like as simple as flipping a switch kind of thing. Yeah. That I won't go into detail about what it was, but then 2 of them were issues that we just couldn't fix. And one thing I try to stress is I'm not going to try to attempt to fix something that I don't know how to fix. And so, but that day in particular, like days like that suck. When you walk away, like you worked 8 hours and you walk away with nothing. That sucks. But fast forward this past week, all 4 of those customers referred somebody to us. All 4 of them. But we walked away from that day, heads down, tail between our legs, like, oh, this sucks. This is hard. Because it does.
Yeah.
And I think the part that almost sucks more is the fact that I couldn't do anything to help you. That for me is bigger than the money. Like the feeling of knowing that I couldn't do anything to help you and you're struggling, that sucks. Yeah. That's a gut-wrenching feeling. And so obviously super down about it, but how cool that literally 2 weeks later, all 4 of those people referred somebody.
That's awesome.
That's huge.
That's a huge win.
It's absolutely massive.
Baby. That's
so
awesome.
It's just situations like that when you can just, it's not always the easy thing to, because money's nice, don't get me wrong. It's not always the easy thing to be like, I can't help you. Or something that's so simple, like, don't charge us. Like, please, we came out, it's not that big a deal. Like, just glad we got it fixed. Please don't, we're not going to send you a bill, nothing like that. And even just people's reaction to that is so worth it. If Brad was like, oh, what do I owe you? And I'm like, hey, Brad, don't even worry about it, dude. Are you sure? Yeah, it's totally fine.
Let me give you something.
Yeah.
Most of those people tip you. Weirdly, majority, like,
I know if anyone that does that for me, I'm telling everybody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. I like every time I've done that, they've given me something. And I'm like, you guys don't have to. And like, I usually find them. They'll throw like a tip in my back pocket when I'm walking away. They're like, go get a burger, But I'm like, dude, it was so quick. I'm like, I don't feel good. Like, I just like, but that smile you get out of them, they're just like, huh? Like, for reals? Like, I'm like, dude, I was here for 30 seconds. Yeah. You're going to hate me if I charge you my basic price.
It's sad that we live in a world where that's a surprise.
Yeah.
The fact that you just being a decent human being and not trying to rip them off is such a surprise to them. Like, that's just sad.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's what I think is so cool about you guys and about what we're trying to do. And even just our influence on other businesses here in St. George is reversing that. Yeah. And creating that sense of, I'm going to take care of you rather than I'm going to rip you off. Because it's crazy how surprised these people get at the fact that you're not going to charge them for being there for 5 minutes. Yeah, for something so simple.
We always say we're winning our customers, not their pockets.
Yeah.
I love that.
Customers over profit.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, we're getting there. It's funny, like you say that. You start to see the change. Once you start surrounding yourself with other tradesmen and you start letting them know what you're doing and how you're going about it, they kind of start reflecting. They're like, damn, okay, yeah, I could do the same.
That happened.
Starting a revolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a big job out in Hurricane, and the company that was there, I won't say who, but they had torn up the whole floor, just made an absolute disaster of this place. And you could tell their attitude. Like, even when I showed up, their attitude was just like, this is just a job. Don't care. The customer was there complaining to them about the mess they made, which totally understandable. Like, you're doing work in their home and you're making their home almost worse than before.
Yeah, crazy.
You shouldn't be doing that, but their attitude. But it was cool to see, and I'm not trying to say it was just us or anything, but just us being there, you could tell the demeanor shift, because we talked to the customer, even changing his demeanor, but then also by the time we left, these workers were so much more genuine and trying to address the problem. Like, by the time we left, they were cleaning up after themselves.
Love that.
Which before, and like I'm saying, I'm not saying that's because of what we did. I would like to believe that what we brought in and that attitude of trying to help them and make them feel comfortable made the difference.
They got to match your energy.
You would assume so.
Yeah.
You would assume so. And that's like, I mean, I'll go into situations even outside of work, surrounded by people where they have this energy that's better than me, or they have an attitude that's better than me, or perspective, or I'm having a bad day and it's like, oh, that reflection, like, oh yeah, I need it. I can adjust. I can adjust.
Yeah.
And so, but then it's adjusting it, but then actually implementing it from a business standpoint for your customers. Cause that's huge. It goes tenfold. Even just changing their day.
Yeah.
Like something as simple as that. Like, if I put a smile on Brad's face.
Look at that. He's smiling already.
Look at that cheese. Look at that cheese. But that's going to translate in his life. After I leave. Like, I don't know what that looks like. But at least I left him with a positive outcome and smile. That's going to do wonders for his day, hopefully.
Yeah.
And we have no idea what people are going through.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing. And what I try to stress all the time, other than being in these people's homes and in their safe space, you have no idea what this person is dealing with. Yep. This person could have just lost their dad or going through a divorce. You have no idea. Yep. So the least you can do is show up and be a genuine good person.
Decent human. Yeah.
And do a good job. Because you have no idea. And there's people that'll put on a front, like could be the happiest people you've ever met that are going through some of the hardest things in life.
All the time.
Robin Williams, you know what I mean?
All the time.
We just talked,
Absolutely.
our episode that just dropped Monday was literally about mental health, you know?
I started listening to that one.
Yeah.
But I'd love to maybe come back some other time and touch on that.
We'll definitely have you back on.
No, we should. We're
because I think mental health is huge. So I'd love to touch on that sometime.
Yeah, no, mental health is huge. It's such a... We're have to do episode 2.0.
Yeah, we're gonna have to continue this.
That's a whole nother episode. Man, we want to do another mental health one and kind of touch on that more, anyways, in general, because it is such a. You get a lot of feedback from it, but it's such a different world we're in.
And I think coming from a home service thing, like we talked about, not knowing what people are going through, you really, depending on your attitude and how you deal with these people, could determine a lot for them. Like depending on what they're going through. Let's say they just lost their dad, whatever. You come in and rip them off. Now
the world's against them. And
the world is against them, and you had no idea.
That could be the breaking point.
It really could.
Last straw,
that's hard and sad to think about, but it's true. It really could, and you don't know.
It's more common than not.
Absolutely, and so the least you can do is go in and be a genuine person,
dude,
and make them feel like you're trying to help them.
Outside of that, I know we got to kind of wrap this up, but outside of that, there was a story from the old company we worked for, but one of my old managers, before he left there, they did a repipe for a lady, did a full repipe, everything like that. And she ended up not paying at the end, and he went over there to go see if she was okay, how it all went, and to go collect payment. Well, there was cops everywhere. They're hey, cops stopped him. They're what, what's going on? And who are you? He's well, I was a plumber. I just repiped the house. And they're well, when were you here last? And he told me, he's a couple of days ago. And they're well, we just found her deceased,
Oh, great. I didn't know this.
You didn't know that? No. Oh, yeah. Found her deceased after that. So, but that was, who knows if that was her breaking point? That could have been her breaking point with the last, all that money. Because repipes aren't cheap, but who knows what else was going on? That could have been well, that's it, But you just never know. Like you say, you never know what anyone's going through at home. So taking care of them, being a decent human could go a long way. It's I always say at the end of all these now, it's I love you, bye. You got to just
totally.
You could be that difference in somebody. Even if it's just a little bit, you give them one more day. You don't know that.
Absolutely. So, and it's you're just providing a service. You don't think you're making that big of a difference.
Oh yeah,
but
you crack a smile, you make them laugh.
Yeah, especially this older community. There could be somebody that's been living alone for 50 years and has no family, no anything. And you made their whole year. But you'll never know that. But you may as well go into it trying to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not being non-genuine, but just trying to go in and be I'm here to make your day.
I love
that. That could be night and day difference for these people. So I love that you guys also have that mentality, and hence the reason why we refer literally everything to you guys,
Brian,
is because I know you guys have that mentality, and I trust that, and I always see that from you guys. And so that to me is everything. That's huge. So thank you guys for being who you are, doing what you do, taking care of people, and having that same mentality as I do.
And thank you, and everybody watching. Obviously, you see why we work with Jackson. So tell people where to find us, or where to find you.
Find you.
Yeah.
Where to find
Jackson,
you.
Tell everybody where to find us.
Just
where do we find you?
Dino Plumbing.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Just online, just Breeze Air Duct and Dryer Vent Cleaning. The website is www.breezecleaningcostg.com. And then also Instagram, Facebook, it's just Breeze STG.
What's your phone number?
435-429-0990.
Awesome.
I got to be careful with that because my wife's number is off by one digit.
So
everybody's calling her.
Oh, yeah. What's up, girl? we because we just bought our new house, we have service guys coming to do the smart home or this or that, and I keep giving them my business number instead of my wife's
I love
number.
it. I love it.
Anyways, but yes, That is correct.
That's where you can find Jackson.
425-429-0990. So,
and what's before we go off and you finish all crazy, what's one piece of advice you'd give anyone listening? Ooh. And it could be anything. Doesn't need to be about trade. It could be life advice, whatever. What's one piece of advice?
Biggest piece of advice that I have just for anybody would be, you never know if today is the last day. Whether that's for you or whether that's for a loved one or a customer, you never know if today is the last day. Life is so fragile, and it's kind of hypocritical because obviously I'm still a human and I still get pissed off and angry and upset, but just trying to have that mindset and try to remember in those frustrating moments, like today could be the last day. That's a hard way to think about it, but it's true. Life is so fragile. Today could be the last day for you, for a family member, for a friend. Always treat it like it's going to be, because it'll bring out the best version of you. And regardless, you're going to feel happier because you're going to start looking at the positive things you have and appreciating, the ones you love and things like that. And so that's probably my biggest advice, because I got that from somebody else. And we'll touch on this on a mental health episode.
This 2.0 episode is going to be deep.
I think we'll have to touch on that for sure. But I was at a low point and I got that advice from a gentleman, and it totally changed my life. Totally changed my life. And it was he said the same thing. He was like, you never know if today's your last day. Yeah. So live it like it is.
I love that.
We'll have to
love your family members. Give everyone you know and love a hug. If you feel like you should call somebody that you haven't talked to in 5 years, call that person.
Yep.
Call that person. God is good. If you have a feeling, follow it. What's the worst thing that can happen? You call and check on this person. You could have saved their life. And so that's probably my biggest advice, is just love everybody. Give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Check on people you love, because you never know if today's the last day. So
I love that. Good stuff, Jackson.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited for this.
Yeah, dude. 2.0 will be sweet.
You might see crying Jackson. So.
Hey, that's what we want. We dabbled in mental health on the first one. It was more of like a dabble, kind of talking about it, easing everyone up into that situation. But that's why we want to do another one, because we're like, we were lighthearted with the first one, but like we want a deep one, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'd love to do that with you guys. So,
and then wrap us up.
Find us on Spotify, YouTube, podcast, www.dinoservicepros.com, at dinoservicepros.com, 435-236-4568.
That's it?
You gotta say love you, bye, bro.
I just want to make sure we were good. All right. Thanks, you guys, for watching. Love you, bye. Appreciate it.
Bye.
I didn't know if you were going to keep going on. I was like, you still got more? I don't know. You were so fucking...